Hello, and welcome to our Friday guided breathing session with Justina Ray. She is joining me live in the studio today, and I'm excited for a wonderful practice. So let's get started.
All righty, thank you. It's nice to be here in person. Happy to be on POW and share this next 15 minutes with you. Often we start sitting and maybe you are relaxed and comfortable. So let's begin here and we're going to work our way up to a standing position. But first, let's just take a couple deep breaths wherever you're at. And be present here in this moment and thankful for this time. Thank yourself for being here and listening in to just a few minutes practice that really shapes the course of our lives. Such a bold statement for such a simple practice. Again, taking a couple deep breaths, and while you're doing it this time, how about we kick off our shoes? We're going to work ourselves to standing. So if you're sitting still or already jumped up, let's just do a little wiggle from head to toe. Feeling relaxed. I carry a lot in my shoulders, so I'm going to take a couple deep breaths and let my shoulders relax. Signaling to the body that it's okay and we're safe. Let's close our eyes and just take a couple deep breaths all the way from the bottoms of our feet. All gather energy from the earth, breathing in all the way up into our chest and exhaling. Let's pay attention to the practice of holding our breath at the top when we're full of air and resting when we're empty of air. Some nice deep breaths. As we're breathing deep, let's go back and forth between the balls of our feet up towards our toes and back towards the heels of our feet. Slow and steady, just bouncing between the balls. So our body leans forward at a slant and back to center and leaning back on the heels of our feet, keeping our back straight. So we're just doing micro movements here. Nice deep breaths in our nose, all the way down to our feet, and exhaling out our nose slow and steady. Just continue to play with the balls of our feet and the heels of our feet. Something that's really cool about this is our confidence is exactly equal to our balance. The more confident we are in ourselves and our ability, the better we are able to balance. This is a very simple balance practice. Trusting ourselves to lean forward at a slant, bending at our ankles, going up to the balls of our feet, using the strength of our toes and coming back down to the center. Nice deep breath in the center, and then lean back on the heels of our feet, our bodies slant. Taking a nice deep breath and coming back to center. Now let's go ahead and soften our knees. Do some slight knee bends. Another interesting thing is really our strength relies on our ability to bend our knees. And the practice of our bending our knees and using our strength Makes our backs happy. Let's go ahead and practice. Let's use our hands and make a little L out of our fingertips as if we're sliding our fingers under a big heavy box. We're going to keep a nice straight back. We're going to slightly bend our knees, acting as if we're picking up a heavy box. Let's lift up as if we're lifting a heavy box. Feel it in the thighs of your legs, pushing up. Take a nice deep breath and then soften our knees again. Go ahead, slide your fingers under the box and lift up. Taking a nice deep breath. Let's just do that a couple more times. Just applying our own mental pressure on our body as we pretend to lift something heavy. It's amazing what our minds can do. Make our legs feel as if we're carrying a heavy box with just our imagination. Go ahead and roll your neck. Let's be done with the bending of the knees. Although let's keep our knees slightly bent, soft. We don't want our knees to be fully straightened. And let's go back to that rolling of our head, rolling of our shoulders. That's my stressful spot. Let's find your stress spot and move those around. Maybe it's in your hips, so side to side with your hips. Maybe it's the core, the belly. Let's go ahead and breathe into our core and strengthen our back, pulling our belly button back to our spine. We breathe in, holding at the top and exhaling. Let's blow out our mouth. Breathing in, breathing out our mouth. Breathing in with our belly button reaching towards our back. Next, with our hands by our sides, we're going to take a nice deep breath and raise our hands at the same time as we breathe in, our hands meeting up at the top. And here we're going to stretch our hips and pull our top half away from our lower half. And bring our hands back down. Let's do that nice and slow. 3 times. Nice deep breath in through our nose as our hands go up to the top. We touch our fingertips, hold our breath, and exhale slowly. Now we're going to add the balls of our feet. So as we go up, let's slowly go up to our tippy toes, using the balls of our feet. Micro movements, our hands touch at the top. And as we exhale, let's drop back down to our heels, slow and steady. And this time as we go up with our hands up to the top slowly, and we lift up on our heels, let's go ahead and lift our top half of our body out of our lower half of our body. Pull it right up out of our hips and exhaling slowly back down. Go ahead and do that one more time. We're going to add a big move in here. So going up and our hands touch and up on our balls of our feet. And come back down, slow and steady. This time we're going to keep our toes down, our heels down. We're going to lift our hands up with our breath up to the fingers touching, and we're lifting our top half out of our bottom half. Our goal here is we're going to bend over at our hips, not at our backs, at our hips. So keeping a very straight back. Lifting our hands up above our head and they touch. Our hips up out of our lower. We're going to bend over at that place where we can pull our top half out of our bottom. Just bend over till it's comfortable and then come back up. Exhaling, bring your hands down to your sides. I want you to do this a couple of times. I want you to find that bend that doesn't include your back. So lifting your hands up with it as you breathe and reaching up to the top. Let's pull our top half out of our bottom half and bend. Bend right at that crease, keeping our back straight just until it's comfortable. Hold for a moment and then come back up. And putting our hands to our sides as we exhale. I apologize, I didn't get our feet in the mountain pose. That's our steady pose where our feet are right below our hips, so our legs are spread apart. Usually you could fit maybe your 2 fists in between your feet. But for this bending over, we're going to actually go out a little bit more. So let's do a triangle with our legs, spreading our legs out farther apart. Go to where you feel the most strength. Slightly bending your knees, giving your knees a little shake. Our knees are in action here, so we're going to do a nice bend at our hips, but we can bend farther if we are soft at our knees and we bend at our knees. Our goal is to get our head down between our knees or as close as we can get. This is a place that I found for myself to learn how to change my mind and my perspective. So, as we're breathing in nice deep breaths, this is a place that we're going that I would go when I was confused or upset or having a hard time regulating my own emotions. I would go and pull my top half out of my bottom half, bending right at those hips, and put my head down as far as I could towards the ground and just sit there for a moment. So that's what we're going to do today. We're just going to find a new perspective. So slowly and together, we're going to take a deep breath, lifting our hands up into the air, fingertips touching. Pull yourself up out of your hips and go ahead and bend over, slightly bending your knees. Hands up in the air, we're bending right at the hips. Go down as far as feels comfortable to you. If you can touch the floor, that's great. If you're not quite there, that's okay. This is a practice. Go ahead and find a place. It might be uncomfortable at first, but let's just sit there for a moment. Let's take a breath there. Let's look at the view. With your eyes closed, or maybe you want to open them softly. In our imagination, we can definitely take ourselves to a different place. So let's go ahead and bring ourselves back up. You're welcome to stay there. You're welcome to stretch around. Let's work ourselves up. It might take a moment or two. Stretching, soft knees, bending at the hips, keeping our back straight. Come back up to the top and bring our hands back down to our sides. Let's go ahead and roll up to the balls of our feet and back to the backs of our heels. And take some nice deep breaths, soft knees. Feeling our hips where we bend. Let's go ahead and do it again. And this time we're going to stay down twice as long. So take a nice deep breath in with our hands moving up to the air. We touch our fingertips, slow and steady. Pull the top half of your body out of the lower half. Bending at the soft knees, we bend over at our hips. Over, over, over. As far as you can go. Maybe your nose can go between your knees. Maybe you're not quite that far. Take a couple breaths, find some comfort in the pose. Learning to hold an uncomfortable pose is part of the process. It teaches us that we can do hard things. It teaches us that sometimes things are uncomfortable, but we can breathe through them. And when our heads are upside down like this, we can find a new perspective. We can look at our problems a different way. We can regulate our emotions by just being with ourselves for a moment and feeling our body. Feeling our body folded in half and our head down towards the ground. We come back up slow and steady. Take your time. This could take 1 deep breath or 5 deep breaths. Do it at your pace. Share some gratitude for the new perspective. Stretching maybe like you've never stretched before, or a little farther than you've ever stretched. Practicing that deep breath slowly in the nose, holding, taking a pause, finding that magic. Breathing deep. Take some nice, deep, steady breaths. Here we are again with our hands by our sides. Let's go ahead and do one more nice inhale with our hands rising up towards the sun. Our fingertips touching. We give thanks. And exhaling, bring our hands back down our sides. Slow and steady we go. Bringing our hands up and putting them together at our chest. We take a moment and breathe, and we give thanks. Thank you for listening in. If you're following along with us live, or maybe you're watching the recording, I hope you have an excellent day or a wonderful weekend. This exercise of being with yourself and your breath will take you far. Miracles will be had at holding that breath, and I hope that you have a wonderful weekend. Thanks for being here with us, and I'll see you again next week.